the party. All right, Kevin, who's joining us today?
We're here with Justin of United Borders.
Yes, the CEO of United Borders is with us. It gives us great pleasure to introduce you to Justin. Justin's here with us. Let's give him a round of applause, guys. Come on.
Big things in the community.
Thanks for having me.
Big things.
Oh, thanks for having us. Oh, yeah, thanks for having us. Yeah, man.
We're doing it like that.
Yeah, I went home well fed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, it was a pleasure.
Nah. Justin, you know, you're doing big things in the community. You're like the Halsden's answer to Nipsey Hussle.
Ooh, that's a huge man.
Big shoes to fill.
It's not massive. It's not massive. You're doing a lot for the community.
Trying.
You're doing, you know, you're giving young people, you know, a sense of hope. Belief in themselves, and you know, we saw that from the award ceremony, which we thoroughly enjoyed. You know what I'm saying? And you know, from the way the kids were speaking about you, you know, they really took to you. And you know, we don't want to know Justin the CEO. We want to know the man. You know,
cool.
You know what I'm saying? So you know. When you're not, you know, being a superhero,
when you're not being Nipsey,
when you're not saving kids off the streets.
Yo, I don't want to end up like Nipsey too.
We got to protect Justin. We've got to.
Come on.
When you're not being a superhero in the streets, you know.
Yeah.
Just tell us a bit about yourself before United Borders. Tell us. You know what you were doing. Yeah, the journey, please.
Okay, well, obviously CEO and founder. Let me just throw that in there.
My bad.
Underplaying it.
Get sacked.
I'm a Northwest 10 native, so I've been born and bred in this community.
Repping.
We you know, on the come up through. I'm from Church Road, but half of my childhood was spent in Stonebridge. So I went to Our Lady of Lords Primary School. My grandparents lived on the other side of Stonebridge as well. So I've always frequented the whole entire borough, if that makes sense. There were a lot of schemes when we was growing up that meant we were everywhere. So we linked with people from all over. So every summer or Easter, they'll take like 100 youths from Church Road, 100 youths from Bridge, 100 youths from Kilburn, that sort of thing. It'd be like 1,000 kids or something like that. Take us away for a 2-week project, have sailing and all that kind of stuff. And then we came back from those trips and everyone knew everyone. So when you was in Northwest, it was Northwest. It weren't like what you see now, where this Zart don't deal with this, Bridge don't deal with Church. Weren't none of that. It was just that we all knew each other. And then when we came back from those trips, we'd go on bike rides. Like bike rides were legendary. If you never had your bike, you was pissed.
You know what's funny? Even when I was growing up, bike riding was the thing.
Yeah, it was legendary.
I don't see many kids doing it.
Yeah, well, you do. You see them doing it for different reasons. I'm worried when I see bikes now. I hope that's a fitness. Yeah, so we'd ride out. We'd go like to different areas, and with friends that you made, you know, previously and that, and cousins in other areas. We'd ride all around. We find ourselves on Edgware Road. We just go everywhere. We was young, and that was it. It was like, you know, the whole area was your oyster, if that makes sense. So not to cut too much out, but to fast forward to where we are today, where youths can't go from Bridge to Church Road. For me, I can't even fathom. Do you know what I mean? I don't even know how it got to that. So
so between that time, like then and now, there's like this divide being created.
I mean, there's obviously we've had some high-profile deaths and murders from both sides, and sometimes when these things happen, you know, now the younger generation, they don't even know why they're locked into this mindset. They're just in something without even knowing the 400, innit? So all the players though, I grew up with all of them. So I saw before things turned to what it became now, do you know what I mean? And it's just like seeing that and knowing that kind of informed me on how to move and how to move different, you know. You know, me even being from Church Road and saying, right, I want to do a project that's going to be with Church Road and Bridge. You know, my contemporaries in Church Road, they're a bit like, what? Like, we really on that? And I'm like, because if we don't do that, what we actually feeding into, you know? So I had to like bypass a lot of the strong feeling and sentiment over that side as well, but to make these kind of projects happen. So, you know, in between that, there's a lot being lost in a sense where we had like a really strong Caribbean presence. I know, where's the man from Ghana? And
come on, he's Jamaican.
Well, we got Caribbean here, but he's basically Ghanaian.
You was here, but you know what I mean? You was honorary Jamaican. Be honest. But no, it's one of those ones where if you know the history of Halsden, I know it because my parents made me aware of it. But when I was growing up in primary school, we had like loads of Irish friends and all the rest of it, right? So, but when my parents moved to Harlesden, it was a racist area. Wow. It was a predominantly white racist area. And basically, once you got out of school as a young black person, then you had to run. There was no messing about. Yeah. My parents then went through it. And that was not just from my parents. When you speak to all that generation, you realise what happened for us to even be here today. Do you know what I mean? So I grew up with it. My dad set up the first Black Panther Party chapter in Harlesden, in Stonebridge. So,
big history then,
Yeah. So it was the Hilltop Club. So above the precinct, there was a Hilltop Club, and that was a space for all young black kids to go afterwards and, you know, know your history, do boxing, do chess and that kind of stuff. So I saw when that whole movement got sabotaged from the police and certain things, do you know what I mean? And at that point, these guys were like, all right, no crack can be sold in the area. If anyone's selling crack and they find out they're smashing you up, you got to move out of the area. So I kind of grew up in a really strong political time, you know, where a lot of prominent leaders from the area were either killed or locked up for long periods of time. So, you know, it's just one of those ones where we've seen all of that growing up with it. For me, it was just like, all right, cool. At some point, everything that I've seen, everything that I've studied from like a world view as well in terms of history, it's gonna encapsulate, you know, what it is that I'm gonna do. But obviously, there's certain things that happen, and the spark was violence, unfortunately. You know, with someone coming from Bridge, riding into Church Road and killing a young guy called James Owusu. And James was like that model guy. He was that model student in the sense where he was a business student. He was 22 years of age, and he shot. Everyone in the area knew him because he looked after his mum. His mum had bad health problems, like a heart condition, and he was her only child. And James was like a budding DJ and all the rest of it. But the fact that he put his own uni career on hold and just went part-time to look after his mum in the hood, he was like a hero. We was like, nah, we all respect that, you know, someone that's just that young, doesn't want no carer for his mum, he's the main carer. So when he got killed, he got shot 7 times in the back and died in his mum's arms. It hit the area hard because it weren't.
I remember that story.
It weren't normal. It was like
my mum knew his parents.
You feel? Like it weren't normal because it was just like, whoa, if James gets killed, then. Not being funny, like what hope is there? Do you know what I mean? Like, for everyone else, like what's this kind of thing? So that one hit me real hard. So I was like, you know what, I need to actually do something more for the situation, innit? And I can't just set up a project in Church Road. It's got to be a project which gets all these other youths who don't want to be part of the problem, who want to be part of the solution. And if there are young people who are part of a problem thing, it's all right, cool. We can mediate you to a more solution-based situation, you know. So that in a nutshell is, you know, skimming over the 80s, bad clothing.
Well, you gave us a movie.
I was picturing that, man. That sounds really good.
Because Harlesden's different now. It's different now.
Yeah, I mean, it's different because I don't think a lot of young people are aware of the history that I'm talking about. So there's a lot of our elder generation who are fading out. And you know, I plan to actually get all of it. It's like I know inside out their story in it, but I still plan to actually capture their story because young people wouldn't know that. They just think that, you know, we was always here doing this. No, we was fighting Teddy Boys.
Yeah, so, all right, fast forward. Okay. And then, you know, we get United Borders.
What is that about?
What was the inspiration? What was the motivation?
Like, from what he's been saying, I've been seeing some of his like kind of motivation and inspiration. So obviously with regards to the bus itself, was you a bus driver?
I think
that's where the bus came from. And also you said like used to go away, like everyone from the surrounding areas used to go away together and do like an activities together.
When James got killed, so I was like, right, I got to do something with this domain name that I bought. I need to actually start getting this business together. And it's really a case of, well, I know it sounds very you know, new science stuff, but it really is about the mind, isn't it? And it's really like once you perceive something here, it's just about you removing blockages.
It's true,
and you'll get to.
I read somewhere you're the epitome of that. It said I read somewhere that, you know, opportunity is not seen with the eyes, it's seen with the mind.
You know first and foremost, you know. And it was just like being in the bus company. I was thinking, right, I want to start this situation up, and it just so happened to be that the bus company was selling off buses because they opened up some fleets in Singapore. So they had buses that they had to get rid of. So I was like, right, okay, so let me just buy one, and they gave it to me quite cheap because I was in the management scheme. And
good bus? Was it in good condition at the time?
Yeah, fairly alright. So then it was like, alright, cool, I've got the bus now. So now I've got to put this idea into motion. Right, what do I do? So I've always been involved in music,
Okay.
And so just to go back a little bit, sorry, it's going to be a bit like bit Marty McFly me, going back and forward. But basically, there's an artist called Akala.
Yeah,
and yeah, so me and Akala started to move when he was 15, and I was probably like 20, something like that. So it was a bit strange one. But me and his sister, Miss Dynamite.
Yeah.
So we kind of met all at the same time, and what happened there is she basically just gave me. I knew she was going from garage into soul music, and she was like, "Look, I've got some track about to come out, and I've had like scripts from all over the world. Tell me what you think of them." So I looked at them and I was like, I ain't really feeling them, I don't think they're getting your message. So she was like, alright, cool, so what do you think you could do better? I was like, I know I can. So she's like, cool, here's a pad, here's a pen, here's a kitchen. Do your best.
Like that, yeah? Come on.
So I went into the kitchen, 20 minutes, bang, 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 here's your script. Right. And then she was just like, oh God, we're doing it. So her first video, It Takes More, that was my script that I wrote. Whoa. So that was where the relationship started with me, her and her brother. And so me and Kings and that, we kind of, Akala. We've always been kind of close through that period, but at the time he was like young and screw face and just really quite aggy, to be honest with you. Everyone would be like, "What?" So
that was a different Akala back
then.
Yeah.
Wow. It wasn't even Akala, it was metric at this point. So when you say metric, he's looking like you be chatting to Justin. Nobody even know that one.
The measurements there.
And at the time he was just a freestyle king. He could freestyle his arse off, and we used to like go West End where all the little spitters used to be. It was just like, you could let him out and like, yo, go and clash that guy, and you just go and murder someone, we just drive off again. So murder lyrically, by the way. So yeah,
dry him off.
Yeah. So that was it. So we was always involved in music from the writing perspective for his sister, and then he said to me one day, look, Iron Napa, there's a lot of black people that go to Iron Napa, maybe we should do a food restaurant there. So I was like, yeah, cool. So I got the cooks. I was like, come on, let's not talk about it, let's get it done on it. So he's like, cool. Me and him went to Cyprus in January, and he's always been like, he's been as sharp as he is now at 15. So it's not like, he's always been that guy, So we went there, and he basically negotiated all of our contracts and done everything. And he was only 16 at the time, or going on, I think he just went on 17 at the time. And we spent like a year in Cyprus. So just me, him, my brothers, our friends, and we lived there for a year. So long after the restaurant business, we were just there, and then we all came back. And then when we came back, he was just like, look, I really want to do this rap thing. So I was like, all right, cool. Like, he was at the time playing ball for West Ham, but his heart wasn't in it anymore. So I was like, look, bro, it doesn't make sense. If your heart's not in it, do what your heart's in it. I know you're getting your little pro contract and that, but just use that time and money and really focus on your goals, you get me? So he was like, right, he's really on this music thing, and then renamed himself Akala. And then, so from there, that was the first of it. We went on the road and that, and this was like, he was 18 at the time, so we was going on the road, and just one thing led to another. But the journey of him was interesting as well, because it was Miss Dynamite's brother for a minute, and then it became Akala's Akala. Do you know what I mean?
I remember when he dropped his first track.
So he's I've always been part of that journey. So then when he had his music video Situation popping, again I've done the first 4 music videos I wrote and directed for him as well. So I've always kind of been active in music, and he's connected me to so many things. So touring with 50 Cent, touring with Christina Aguilera, touring with Jay-Z, going all around Africa, like, I've done a lot of things with him. So it's a weird relationship, because one of those ones where everyone would look at it and you're a big man, I've had kids, my sons, since 17 and 18. So I was like an older big man from the time.
You had to mature quick.
So I was always on a big man thing. So it was always like, you're moving with this 15-year-old, like no one could understand it. But I was just like, nah, but this guy, he's got something on him, you know what I mean? He's gonna be that guy. So I'd always do that in my everyday endeavours. I'd meet strange people, and my mum said, "Oh, you met another one again." There's something with it.
You bring them home as well.
Yeah.
So he's got another one here.
Here we go. Justin just always makes strange friendships, but lo and behold, like, it was like I was mentoring him at first, and then it kind of turns like he mentors me.
Wow.
He shows me how to do business. He shows me how to set my situation up. Do you know what I mean? So this is kind of like, even though it's a side note, it's part of who I am. Do you know what I mean? So even when I work with someone younger, they'll be shocked to know that they inspire me and they inform my moves. You know what I mean? So with our young comp here from the other day at the graduation, it's a similar situation. Like, it's a young cat, and I like the way how he moves and that, and I plug him into certain opportunities. But like, you know, me opening up my foster home was because of him, because he spent a lot of his time in Keir. And there's one Christmas he came to my yard and that.
He just
came to my yard and that, and he was just like, look, whatever. So I was like, that's no big thing, man. You've got enough food here. Like, come and eat, man. Don't be silly.
I know you enjoyed that food as well.
That award ceremony.
Oh
man, he didn't want to leave. Through February, he must have still been there.
So with that being said, music's always been a firm part of what I do anyway. So it was just right. I know I'm going to encompass music in some respect.
Yeah.
So there's a producer who runs our sessions called Mo on the Beats, and he was originally doing touring with Ricardo as well. Then I went to the Caribbean to go on a property situation. So I was over there for months while I was touring with Christina Aguilera. And then when they came back from tour, Emma went more into the production side of it, and we all kind of went into our own little lanes. I went to work, Ricardo got more political, writing, that kind of thing. And so with me and Emma, when he started to produce more, I could see the talent now. I was like, okay, now you're ready. Alright, cool. So with him, I said, let's start the business together, innit? So we started it up. I bought the bus, and I said, right, bring your equipment on board. Can we just go over Stonebridge and just try and work out a situation? So it was a weird one because I contacted Kevin. Kevin is like, he was like the management for, is it UGC? Is that K Cokes?
Oh yeah.
Right. So he's management for those guys. So hit him up, and I said, look, we've gone to primary school together, and I'm like, look, I know the situation that, I've basically set up iCity. So that's with Nines and stuff in it. So I've set up all of their thing. Nines, I've been working with him since his brother got killed. I gave him I put him on his football course, his FA level football courses, and then when Akala opened up his Hip Hop Shakespeare, I brought Nines down there. So I've always been that guy that, right, what are you doing? No, I can't. And just bringing him different places.
I told you, get on superhero.
That's what I mean. Hearing the story, we're actually seeing what you've actually been doing before. United Borders.
Everyone sees the tip of the iceberg.
That's what I was going to say. All I've seen of you so far is around like United Borders. So it's nice to kind of see this other side of you.
Under the water.
That's how we getting into it.
Trying to get some
known stuff. So with Nines, I've always felt a personal responsibility towards him because I was close with his brother. So and Nines and my brother have always been tight, right? So once his brother got killed, I kind of felt like, right, I don't want to see him waste his talent because his brother was talented, and I don't want to see him waste his talent, so I've always kind of pushed him. And my brother, I never understood this whole flow thing where people just kind of talk, because I'm from that kind of Busta Rhymes.
I like the flow, I like melodic sort of flow.
People come with energy, so Biggie Smalls, they have authority on track, right? Or Tupac, just kind of like exciting, right? So when my brother was saying like, yo, you need to get with Nines, and I was like, nah, I just don't get it. I mean, I don't understand this whole talking thing. I'm not seeing it. And my brother was like, Jay, trust me, like, you need to get with him. He's gonna be the thing. Get behind it now. And I was like, nah, let him do his thing. Let him bubble away, and then I'll get involved at a point. And let me just see where this goes. A couple million views later, I was like, okay, so he's serious.
Is that right? Is that right?
It's the real thing. Still, I need to get involved.
I'm an old man in the game. Let me shut my mouth. I'm humble, innit? So so when we got involved with him, I set up the mixtape, the website for the merchandise and stuff like that. But with Nines, it's always been an easy thing because he's a genuine boss. Like he's genuinely like a Jay-Z type person, and he's just one of those guys. Yo, I need this, and it's just get it done. Don't talk to me about it. Just get it done. You know what I mean? So he's always made my job easy because he's focused. So I like when people are focused. I can work when you're focused, right? So I negotiated well, it was a weird one because obviously he got dropped from his first record deal. And I was kind of like not wanting him to sign that one, to be honest with you. And then the whole situation, T-Biz, all that crap happened, and then he got dropped from the first record deal. So he was feeling quite low about the situation, and then XL came in, and then he was just like, rah, because I was telling him not to sign the first one. He was like, look, negotiate this one for me. So I was like, all right, cool. So spoke to the CEO, and I said, all right, cool. We was negotiating for like a period of like a couple months, going back and forth. And in the end, I negotiated quite a strong deal for him. But he was just like, nah, you know what? It's like, I feel like I'm working for people, so I'm not going to sign that deal. I'm like, bro? He's like, yeah, he ain't on it. So I was like, cool. So I go back to the CEO, so I said, yeah, he's not going to sign. So he was just like, what do we have to do? So I said, all right, cool. I'm at Westbourne Park in the morning. Your office is around the corner in Grove, innit? I said, come to the staff canteen and let's talk, innit? So he came to the staff canteen. And he's like, all right, so what's the situation gonna take, you know, like to get 9? So I was like, well, it's gonna have to be a joint venture. If it's not a joint venture, it's nothing, because he doesn't want to work for nobody no more. He's done that shit already. So if it's joint venture or nothing, basically. So it's like, whoa, okay. And if we did offer it, and I was like, then I can sort something out, but it's gotta be joint venture or we're not on it. So he's like, well, and he was hesitant, and I was like, okay, well, have you given out joint ventures before? So he was like, yeah, just to 2 acts. So I'm like, and that's in the history of Excel.
Wow.
So I'm like, who are they? So he's like, Radiohead. So I'm like, my favourite band. Go on. So he goes, and Jack White from White Stripes. So I was I was like, come on, those are my people. So I was like, well, they're in good company, you know. What 9s means to the culture is similar to what they mean to this. And I said, and beyond that, we're in a streaming age now. And this is the guy that's going to take you forward. And I said, plus he's got films coming up the whole night. So you're not just signing a rapper, you're signing an artist, right? So you're just like, all right, cool. Let's shake on it now. If we shake on it, promise that you deliver it. So I said, I can't tell you, you know, he's very temperamental. He'll say, yeah, then he'll be like, nah. But I said, but I'm pretty sure joint venture, 2 album deal, we can make it happen. So he was like, all right, cool, we shook on it. I went back to Church Road, and he was out there. I was like, how does the joint venture sound? He's like, my man.
Done deal.
He's the right man for the job. He's like the man that really talented you, right?
Again,
you know what I mean?
It's like I've never negotiated a deal like that before. You know what I mean? What gives me the right? It's not like something that I do, but I didn't do it for money. There was no money in it.
So was it something that you enjoyed then?
No, it was just more like 9s for me is like have you seen Good Will Hunting? Yeah. He's like that guy. Like you just got to go through the door, bro. Stop messing about, stop backsliding. Just go through the door. You need more infrastructure. We haven't got enough infrastructure around us. I know you want to be independent, but it's not that time. You need to go through the door, go and understand how the machine works, make your money, and just just bring everyone with you. You know. So with him, it was just more of compassion, more out of love. You understand? So it was just like the money's not important. Just get yourself where you need to be. Just elevate. You understand? So. Yeah, so, you know, rest of the story, he had the highest streams that year and all the rest of it, outsold all their contemporaries, had millions of pounds allocated to them. Jeez. And you know, he never spent his budget, he's like that, he's like, I ain't spending, I don't want to be no debt to nobody kind of thing. So, done his thing and left the building, you know what I mean? Left his building and negotiated another good deal for himself. But again, like, that was an important part of my development, and it's that just shows that the kind of trust that I have with people like that. So
yeah, I could tell. We could tell. We could tell. The kids, they gravitate towards it.
Yeah, so being with someone like that, like, you know, it's 9s and that, and then you got and then I'm like, right, I'm gonna do the situation with K Coke's management. It's not a good day for me, is it? Like everyone's like, Jay, man, like we're with you, but nah, bro, like we get this. And I'm like, you're going too deep. Going too deep now, baby. So I'm like, nah, I hear you, but it's like it's got to be done, bro. Because at the end of the day, I can't have a next generation of young people running around clapping and stabbing each other for no apparent, you feel me? So everyone's got their mission. Your mission's music, innit? My mission's people, innit? And I'm trying to connect people, so it is what it is kind of thing. So this was this is like some of the music background that I'm kind of letting you know about. So yeah, we got the music up on the bus, the production side of it, and then I hit up Kevin and I said, look, from the Stonebridge end, hit your young people who wants to be involved in this project. I want to connect Stonebridge and Church Road together. So done a bit of research, and he's like, boy, you know what, there's a lot of push amongst people, younger people from there to kind of be on it. So I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So I went to the council, and I said to the council, look, I've got this unique situation where we've got young people from Church Road and Stonebridge that want to work together. A lot of them are high risk, a lot of them are in gangs, but nonetheless, the will's there. You understand? Like, what can you do to help the situation? So there was like, all right, they've got a cross-border initiative fund, and it's been there for over 10 years, but like they couldn't get the local housing association to work together on this one because none of the young people want to work together on it. So I was like, all right, well, just hit me with the fund and give me 2 weeks and I'll get you some outcomes. I was like, all right, cool. So they gave me the fund. I rallied, and this is how the project started. So I'd go to Church Road in the morning and I'd record music with the cats in Church Road. And then in the afternoon I'd come to Stonebridge, like way deep in Stonebridge and that, and record music with them in the afternoon. Yeah. And I'd be like, oh look, we made some beats for you guys earlier kind of thing. And I was like, alright, cool. And they jump on the beats and stuff. Yeah. And if you're an artist, you know that once you jump on a beat that you like, that's your beat now. And I'd do the same thing in Church Road. It's like, oh, we made some beats for you yesterday. And alright, and they'll jump on the beats and stuff. So the first part, the course back then was more production. So we'd work with those guys producing and spitters and that, but was producing and spitters, that's what we was looking. So we kept on doing that over like the 2-week period. Then at the end of the process, we said, all right, cool, look, this is what happened. Like the guys in Bridge, they've been producing you guys music, like, and was like, yeah, and they know it's coming to Church Road. It's like, what, for real?
That's an intelligent way to get there.
We went back to Stonebridge and was like, look, the tracks that you're on, the man them in Church Road be making the music for you, and you know they're willing to work with you. Like, and it was like, rah, this is weird. Like no one knew what to do at first, and I'm like, look, we want to have a mediation point in it. We want the man them to kind of work together. But these were all the gang members, so this weren't even like, you know, like kids that were in school and a lot of
and then if they knew that these beats would be made by these guys, they would
so I mean the council was strongly advised against it. I went to many meetings and the Metropolitan Police made it clear now there's going to be a summer bloodshed between UGC, is it? I think it is, and Night City. These guys are definitely, from all the intelligence that they've got, they're going to be killing each other this summer. So this ain't the right time to be doing this project. So the councillors were saying to me, yo, are you sure about this? And you know, we never had like all the safeguarding measures that I had now, you know, and I was just like, nah, I spoke to my man, he's all right. I said, he's cool with it. And they were just like, right, okay, so the way they went about it was like, we're going to give you the money, but we don't even want you to say it was us, basically, because we don't think it's going to work out right. A lot of the young people that have been identified in the programme, they're known to us. We know that these guys are responsible for things, so now we don't want nothing to do with it. Here's the money, but don't tell no one we gave you the situation.
So they just gave it to you and said,
see you later. It's like, do your thing, like, we don't want to do it.
Backhand us or
it was like, you know, we expect the worst, so it just happened that we brought them all together. It was like over 50 of them, and we took the youth from Church Road into Bridge, and imagine these guys are like 17, 18, they've never been to Stonebridge before. And I'm like, how do you not go
down the road? It's like saying I've never been to the top of the
It's like a 10-minute walk.
When I say it to people, they think I'm like, no way, like, yes way, this is the situation, right? So they've never come in before. So we came into Bridge, and we was recording music. It was meant to be like for 2 hours. It was the whole day.
Wow.
Even when I was saying to the man, yo, like, they've finished, like, it's 6 in the evening now. We've been there since what time? They was like, nah, let it roll. So, you know, I was like, okay, it was a good day, you know. And friendships were made and so forth. We went back to the council, and we said, look, this is what we've done. And we recorded the whole thing. The police were there, and they was like, yeah, that guy's a gang member, that guy's gang. Right, okay, cool. So we was like, yo, what's up? We want to really roll it out now and get proper with it now and start building shows and stuff. And they hit us back, and they was like, nah. I was like, right, what's all this? They was like, oh, that's the first time I heard the words austerity. I was like, austerity? Like, what's this? They was like, nah, we've got a slash funding. What you're doing is good and it's nice and all that, but we've got a slash funding by twice of what, you know, where it's at now. And I was like, right, so that's just it, that was it. So that was our first setback, and I realized, whoa, okay, even if you've got something that works, doesn't really matter. Do you know what I mean?
And you see, I wanted to ask you this question, like, this whole movement, the United Borders, everything else, did you fund it yourself then?
No, because I mean, it was one of the first thing was the council. I mean, I was using my own money, my work wages to make certain things happen, and you know, any money that I get, I pay my team so they can take time off work and put the work in. But I was still working full time and delivering this on the side, you know. So I didn't really, at that point, I didn't feel that sense of, okay, now's the time to jump ship. It was just like something I'll do on the side, it's just, you know, let it build kind of thing. And then, you know, the money went there. So I was like, you know, let me just leave the bus for a little bit and just concentrate on other things, and I'll get back round to it. Then what happened? What was the catalyst again happened again? I think it was 2000, so that was 2017. In 2018, the very beginning of 2018, and I was just, I moved to Bristol to get the foster home together, right? So I was like, all right, we're gonna get the project back together, but I need to try and find someone that can fund it properly, because this kind of intermittent funding, you deliver a project for a week, what kind of relationship can you build with a complex young person in a week? Like, what is this? Do you know what I mean? So I was like, I need to really figure out, I need time, you know? So said to everyone, and we'll get back to it, but just not right now, innit? Like, let me just concentrate on life and I'll get back on it. Then 2nd of January, 10:30, I get a phone call from police, like, yo. In fact, it was my wife. They actually phoned me and she was like, oh, Rico's been stabbed. And I was like, Rico, that's my son, my oldest son. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, it just doesn't make sense. It would just be like someone phoning and say, yo, you've been stabbed. Like, you'll be like, what? Do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make sense. It just doesn't even compute. And I was just like, this is mad. Like, what? So
he got stabbed 10 times, right?
He got stabbed 11 times.
11? Wow.
11 times. So
It's a blessing that he's still walking. Like we saw him yesterday. You wouldn't even think.
You wouldn't know it. Like he's very mature and he's dealt with it emotionally.
That's just down to the village effect, right? It's not just us, it's like a whole family support network, you know? So he got stabbed 11 times, and then the next phone call that I got was from the police, and there's like, he ain't gonna make it. So we suggest that you get down to the hospital as soon as, because we don't see him, he's not gonna make it.
Wow.
I'm in Bristol. I'm 2 hours away, right? So I got like a 2-hour drive down to London, and I'm like, oh my God, like, my phone's there, and I'm just like, I just don't want my phone to ring. So there's two things. I believe in the power of prayer. I don't know where people are with it, but I believe in the power of prayer. Specifically, if you're in a mad situation and that prayer is aligned to your true feelings, right? Exactly. And that's the only time that I tend to pray. Like I don't have wasted prayers. I do now. I give thanks to the universe or whatever the higher energy is. That's me in it. But like I know that prayer actually works, because that was what I prayed for. Was that, listen, keep him alive. Don't make my phone ring. And it was because I didn't want that phone call in a way, because someone's going to say to me, he's passed, right? So
that 2-hour drive, what was going through your mind?
That was it. That was my prayer all the way down. Wow. That was my meditation. That was my thing. You know, don't let my phone ring, keep Rico alive. Don't let my phone ring, keep Rico alive. And I kept that mantra up until I reached St. Mary's Hospital. Got in there, and the whole family was there, and you know, it was like, what's going on? It was like, he's fighting, lost a lot of blood, that kind of thing. I was like, alright, cool. So I just sat down for my meditation and that. Then when we saw him, I was like, I think he might make it, you know? And then it was just like, well, okay, what's the condition afterwards? And then it's been the whole process to rebuild him after that, because then he had a colostomy bag. You know, it was stabbed 11 times. He was in Rainer's Lane.
So tell us the story.
The context behind that is that this is just after New Year's. I spoke to him and my son in New Year's, like, Happy New Year's, you look good, yeah. So I'll be down I was going down the same day anyway, so I'll be down on the 2nd or the 3rd. Yeah. So we'll meet up and we'll go and have dinner and that. So it's like, yeah, cool. He was walking my younger cousin back to the train station, because they all stayed at the house, and he was walking back to the train station down by Rainer's Lane. And then he said that when he was down, you know, he kind of noticed some guys with hoodies, and he weren't too sure what was going on. Next thing you know, he realised he was running after them. Wow. So he just started to run with my cousin, and they ran, and then they got split up, and then Rico ran into a cul-de-sac, and all the guys ran with him. Jeez. And they just started stabbing. Stabbing. You see, he just started screaming, and then on the last scream, I think someone turned the light on, and that's when the guys ran off. Jeez. And honestly, the people that turned the light on, they saved his life. Yeah. And then and as well as that, he couldn't move, so he crawled to the door on his arms. Wow. And that's what saved him. If he stood up, he would have died, because his arteries were hit. If he just stood up, he would have died. Wow. And because he just laid and dragged himself to the door, the people that answered the door, it just happens to be, it was his friend from secondary school that recognised him. Wow. Her uncle knew the life-saving techniques and pressed towels in the right places, kind of thing. Ambulance came and took him, and you know, he's here. So did you feel sort of the same? It's kind of like the same people you're trying to help. Yeah. Are the same people that. It was mad. Did you kind of feel like, why am I doing this? Yeah, for certain. So
your energy, though, it must have been everything.
Yeah, it was all over the shop. I mean, you know, the first part is like, for me, it was just like someone harming your child, and you know your child wouldn't harm a fly. Right. Yeah. You know, you wish death on everybody. You know what I mean? Like, and you're kind of like, nah, like I want to know who did this kind of situation, because that's me, and there's not many things that I put myself to fighting for, but when it's my family, I'm willing to die straight away for his life. I'm doing whatever to protect mine. It's like, no one ain't gonna take my family. That's the other part of me. And then there's this other part of me, which is where you gotta be responsible. You want another family to go through this side of things and all of this stuff. So there was this internal conversation and conflict I was having at the time. So I just said, you know what, like on a real note, like higher force again, like if my son comes out of this situation alive and well, like in the next 4 months, then I'm gonna really reassess my values, you know, in terms of what I'm willing to do and what I'm not willing to do. You understand? But I got to be real. That was a dialogue within me, innit? I know some people are kind of like, nah.
But it's only natural, isn't it?
Well, so
did you ever find out who did it all?
It was weird. I can get to that in a minute. So it's all kind of strange. But
I'm waiting for this one, you know. Captivating, man.
Episode 3. I'll cut this up. But so the first part was just like, you know, if my son gets through this and he's got like full physical health, psychologically, I'm confident that I can get him back to being the human that he needs to be, you know. So he got stabbed with a sword as well, like a sword, and the sword like pierced his back, and it tore through his anal cavity. So he couldn't even shit, couldn't do nothing. He had to use a colostomy bag, and I think that was the hardest one for him, because a lot of them were stab wounds here and there, but that one, you know, physical pain, and then actually, you know, Rico's a physical guy. You know, I mean, up until then he was doing a lot of PT work, so his body was looking good, and he prides himself on his looks and his body. You know, so it was just like, whoa, this guy's gonna have to have a colostomy bag. And at the time they couldn't say whether it was for life or we didn't know what the situation was. You know, but thank God, you know, everything progressed the way that it did. And, you know, the colostomy bag went, and, you know, he kind of had to, you know, get himself back to full physical health again. So, again, like I said, the conversation that I had internally, which was that I'm not putting up with this, like, whoever's done this has to pay. That conversation became null and void, because I kind of promised, if he gets through the situation, I've got to question my own motives, you understand? So, again, it was just like, all right, cool, like, I've got to leave that side behind now, and now I just focus. And it was like I was getting contract calls. Everyone's like, nah, I don't want to do nothing. I'm just focusing on my son right now, and then we'll see in it. And then, so then I was going through that kind of relapse of like, you know, I don't even know if I want to work with young people like this anymore. You know what I mean? Like, this is my son that's innocent, and this is, you know, I'm getting targeted in the situation. I'm like, nah, like I didn't know if I wanted to do it anymore, to be honest with you. And then when I was I'd done one more project actually. I'd done one more project in South London. And I kind of felt myself getting back into the groove again a little bit, but I was still not sure if that was what I wanted to do again. And I parked my bus in a place called, I think it was Hemel Heath. It was a farm up there that allowed me to park my bus up there. And parking my bus up there, and it broke down one night on my way to the farm. So it was a bit away from the farm. So I said to him, look, is it going to be cool here? He's like, it says the Heath. We haven't had any crime. It's, you know, it's a village. We all look out for each other. I'm like, all right, cool.
I saw this on ITV, by the way.
Yeah. And then next thing you know, lo and behold, it's the arson attack. Set the bus on fire. It's gone.
But why? To me, that just doesn't make sense.
Just don't mess around with bored country. You don't know what. These guys do things a little different.
They saw a match.
There's a bus. Let's just burn it. Oh, really? So they just burnt. They were just bored and burnt the bus basically, and then that fire kind of ignited me, because it was one of those ones where I was driving my bus in Bristol, because I moved to Bristol for a bit, so I was doing driving in Bristol. And the guy called me and he was just like, oh my God, Just, I don't know how to tell you this. And I was like, oh, what's up? He goes, the bus, it's gone. So I'm like, it's gone? Oh, what? They've towed it? And he goes, no, it's gone. I goes, gone weird, like, where's it gone? Suspense. Like, what's going on? It's like, he didn't want to tell me. He felt away and he felt responsible, because it's his village, right? And he vouched for the village. So he was like, no, it's gone. It's like, there's no bus, bruv. So I'm like, what happened to it? He goes, no, it's been burnt. There's no bus left. Wow. So I'm like, whoa. So I'm like, all right, cool, listen. He goes, I'm going to send you the pictures. No.
I believe you. Do you want to see the evidence?
Don't do none of that right now. So I've always kind of done driving jobs, from like doing touring and all the rest of it. I've always been on the road kind of thing. And mainly for me, it's like, with bus driving in particular, for some people they don't like the profession, but for me I enjoyed it, because I like people. A lot of bus drivers don't like people, I do. And also it's where all my ideas come, because no one can contact me. I can't have no phone or nothing. So it was the one place where I hold my meditation. So I go into a bus thing, and I miss people stop sometimes, because I'm putting the world to right. You know what I mean? I'm having conversations and I'm really developing myself in that journey. So when he told me this at the time, I was at one in Bristol. And I said, look, I'm going to call you, but just don't tell me anything more in it. And literally in between the drive to the other side of Bristol, I said, right, you got to get everything back. And everything's going to be bigger than where it was. And it's going to happen. Don't worry about it. I know you're pissed right now. Because you know it's like a gut. You know when the worst news happens and you get that gut feeling? Like everyone's just, you can't get rid of that.
A series of things that were happening.
Yeah, so my son just survived, and then Rico, and I was like, right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm done.
So I was going to say,
everything will tell you no.
Exactly. It's the same thing. Carla phoned me. He's like, yo, like, bruv, like, what more? Like, what more? And I'm like, nah, bruv. It's cool, like, what's your bounce back? What's your bounce back? He goes, I said, no, what's your bounce back? No, what's this? So literally, the Evening Standard put out an article about Rico, about the stabbing, and I was vexed about it, but I thought, it's not the time, I'll get back to this at some point, right? And this was in Davenport, and I said, yo, you ran a story about my son, I didn't like it, because there was no context. it was just like another black boy killed, right? Or sorry, so-called stabbed, right? So I was like, you didn't contribute to the fact that I'm a social activist and I'm working with young people. You didn't even include the fact that my wife's been investment banking for like over 13 years and is a senior investment bank manager. Like really, like we're middle class black folk, but you just dealt with us like on a working class level, which I don't mind. But keep that up, innit? Keep that energy up for everyone else. Because when Madeline's gone missing and her parents are doctors and all the rest of it, the whole country comes to a standstill, right? But when my son gets stabbed, and I'm a worker, I work for TFL, I'm in management, I bought my own bus to combat the situation. What, I'm not someone to be worthy of mention. So you're just like, listen, I'm so sorry, like come down to our offices, So I said, alright, cool. So I said, I ain't got time for that. What I need to do right now, here's the story, my bus has just been burnt down, I need to put it in the Evening Standard come next 2 days, Here's the contact to raise the money and all that stuff. I think it was like a GoFundMe account. So here it is, put this up, put it out there, just get my money raised in it. And he was like, alright, cool, I'll do whatever. So gave him the story, he pushed it out, and like that story kind of was weird because ITV came to the project the week before. They got burnt down and they they recorded the whole thing. I phoned them back, you gotta come back, I've got no bus. So they came back and that's where you saw the filming. So I was just like, right, I need to like use the media for my own purposes. It's not for me. You get me? I've got no qualms using their tools when it comes to my young people, right? So it's what it is. So by the time I phoned the farmer back, I was like, right, this is what I've done. And I'm gonna come down to the farm in 2 days' time with ITV. We're gonna come down, me and you are gonna be in the press together, we're gonna take photos and rah. He was like, yeah, look, whatever it takes, innit? And then that was literally the journey to getting everything back. And then a person called Annabelle came to my bus when it was fully functioning. She's like, look, you're doing a great job down here. And she came at the point, remember I told you I didn't really want to do the job, but I just did it anyway. She came to that service. And she's like, I'm gonna nominate you for this award called Leap Awards. And Leap are like a really big charity, grassroots charity, and they acknowledge other grassroots charities. But they've got an annual ceremony in the Bloomberg building in central London, where they invite all grassroots and winners and stuff like that. So she said, if you're nominated, it's big, because from that nomination you can kind of whatever. And I was like, yeah, whatever. So she, true to her word, she nominated. We went. And the day that I went, I was with Rico, and this was like the first time that Rico was like colostomy bag free, and he was like, yeah, can you drop me to the barbers? And I'm like, it was sunny as well. I was like, you good to make this journey? He's like, yeah, I'm on it. So I'm like, cool, dropped me to the barbers, jumped out of the car and was walking, and I was literally crying.
Really? So, let's touch on Rico's, unfortunate incident.
But just to finish, so I started crying in that, but he didn't see it, and went to the barbers and that. Then I drove to the award ceremony, and then they read out, and the winner is UNITEDBORDERS, and I was like, whoa, kind of thing. It was crazy. So gave a speech. It was quite emotional, as you can imagine. And then there was some guys there from an investment company called Miriam Investment Group. And then they just heard the story, and they were just like, listen, we've been following the story and everything else, like, we want to buy you a bus. I'm like, oh, for real? They was like, for real. So I was like, okay, cool. Come to the offices next week, we'll cut you a check. I was like, cool. Jeez. And the bus that you came on, that was the bus that they bought, right? And then halfway through Sonos, the wireless speaker company, they contacted me from America, and I was like, look, we've been following you, we've seen the stuff that you're doing, we want to get involved in the UK. Well, I think it's a worldwide movement, so it was France, America, Cali, and Germany. And they want me to be the London representative for their grassroots initiative. So I was like, okay, cool, that sounds cool. And they came through, gave us equipment, and gave me funding for the year. So it was like, wow, so it's the first time I've locked funding down for the year, so now we can actually do the work now, you know what I'm saying?
And so keep it going as well.
Yeah, keep it going, building it, get more contracts in and stuff like that. So, but like I said, all these kind of things happen, came to me at weak points and strong points, but the focus was to really do what you see us doing now.
That's big, man. That was a bad.
That's a story, man.
That's a story, bro.
I think everyone here is captivated. There's no sound.
I forgot where I was for a second.
This is my show.
Really?
You don't invite to Justin.
Justin Social. That's it. We're in trouble. You speak about your son and that tragic incident. How did he recover? I mean, I've been stabbed. I got stabbed 15 years ago. And your son looks like he recovered really well mentally.
Yeah.
For me, I kind of went into my shell.
Right.
I didn't want to go out. And after I got stabbed, I was carrying a knife.
Wow.
Because I felt like I needed protection.
Wow.
You know, once I was fearless, and now I became fearful.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So I was just like, how did you help him recover in that mentally?
I think, to be honest with you, me and Rico, Shay's mum, we've been together since she was 15.
Wow.
So, and probably got married when I was around 27, I think.
Nice.
Yeah, so I think all of that is what goes into what you see with that, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So he's always been in that kind of family setting. I've always been that kind of guy, go-getter, you know, mum's been the anchor for the family, holding it down, you know, so he's been in that, and in that, you know, mum, grandparents, like that whole thing. We've got like a massive village, like, you know, so he's never been alone, and we've never been like a nuclear family only focused on us, you know. I've always been like, my family's cool, hold this, let me go and work with more families that need help, kind of thing, you know. So he's always been part of that process. So from his recovery angle, like, you know, there's pictures of Rico he had his 21st birthday in the hospital, right? And it's jammed in there, it's packed, you know, he couldn't move in there. In there's not hot, bro. In there was baking.
Did a caller go and drop some bus?
No, he was in Thailand at the time, so he was mad, you know, he was like, bro, I think it was Thailand or LA, but he's like, as soon as I get back, you know, kind of thing. But his mum, you know, she came to us for every single day, you know, and that's what I mean, it's like, it's not just our family, it's the extended family, and we have to tell people, like, not today, you know, he's going through physical pain, he was on morphine, you know, there was a lot of stuff going on with him at the time. Yeah. But I think the way that he got through it, you'd have to talk to him at some point. Yeah, but I'd love to. From what I understand, it was just really the fact that it's family, innit, and like, we've constantly been on our children, you know, and like, when we're too close to it sometimes, there's other people that will step in and intervene, you know, and be like, yo, that kind of thing. But this is where the village network is essential, and I think a lot of these principalities, we're losing them, and we're more focusing on nuclear, you know, my house is nice, my hedge is nice, we've got 2 cars, we go on 3 holidays, it's all about us, do you know what I mean? And I think we need to really get back into that village network, because if it weren't for that, you know, where would I be? Do you know what I mean? Where would Rico be in that sense? So I would say it's the age-old African principles of a village network, you know, and you know, when we're, you know, at times I fall short, or, you know, mum's tired or exhausted, other people step up, you know. But we was quite clear about therapy. Therapy playing a key part, and he wasn't too keen on it, you know. But I think where he accessed it here and there, you could see where therapy was actually helping.
I love that, because not many of us, I didn't go therapy, I just dealt with it as time went on. Right. You know what I'm saying? And you know, you mentioned a good point there about family. Yeah. You know, do you think that's the main, well, not the main reason, that's one of the reasons why these kids are getting into the whole gang violence, and because, you know, they don't have a home to go to, and a house doesn't make a home? Yeah, I mean, you know? it's strange, because I mean, I think for me personally, I mean, on the come up as a young one, I've always had like a really steady family environment, and this is where I say village is important, because with my mum and my dad's relationship was a little bit complicated. My dad was like a modern day rock star, you know what I mean? He was just out there doing his own stuff and making money and buying cars from Park Lane and just living that. So I was like literally like this kind of like middle class kid in the hood. You know, and I'd play out in Lacoste tracksuits. Like, I had all the latest computers, and everyone would come to my house. I was the first kid with Sky. I just had all this stuff. Jeez, drip was strong.
Yeah,
strong drip.
Yeah, I got strong drip. I just had all this stuff going on, and it was just like, but I never had brothers and sisters in the same age group. So it was me, Casa, Su Casa, everyone come kind of thing. So, my mum and my dad's relationship was quite complicated, you know. But my mum's parents, grandma and granddad in Bristol, they were like everything for me, you know. They were in love, you know what I mean? Like, that's where every Easter we went, every Christmas we went, and that's like the whole family. So there's 9 children, 24 grandkids, you know. It was just chaos, you know. And it was just like, oh, the house ain't big enough, alright, we'll just build an extension. The extension ain't big enough, alright, we'll just buy the house across the road. Because those were the first hustlers for me. My grandma and my granddad hustled, you know what I mean? Like, all 9 of their children had a house. And I don't mean like a flat. I'm talking about 3-storied houses, like you go St. Paul's and all of that, them old houses, that's what they're all on, innit? So they came over with nothing and built like a empire of like 2.5 million, and then went back to Jamaica, right? But like, they had the biggest food store in Glastonbury, so every year I was in Glastonbury, I was like this black hippie kid. You were you know, Mick Jack and all those guys, they had the only 24-hour restaurant period in Glastonbury for over 10 years, and it was Caribbean food. So you know, like, and like my uncles were African dancers, my aunties, they had a band called Ekeme. If you do your research, Ekeme were massive throughout the 80s and stuff. Like, there's all this cultural hub and all this love. Like, so for me, when I was like 5, and people would say like, "Oh, Justin, what do you want to be when you're older?" I said, "A married man." And people would just laugh. They'd be like, "What? This little kid talking about a married man?" But like, those two made me happy. Like, they informed me, and you know, that's what I said. Like, that's where the village becomes important. So even though your immediate settings might not be the best, you know, you see that. You know, Will Smith goes to Fresh Prince. You know, goes to Bel Air, right? So his own home setting went the best, but he stays with a family, and everything kind of works out for him. And that was me with my grandparents. So I think a lot of these young people sometimes, we've kind of geared ourselves for this kind of like this westernization of living family where it's just you and yours, that's all that's important. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I think like when that breaks down, what's your supporting network around that? Do you see what I'm saying to you? Like, for real. My sons are my sons, and they get portions of me, but I'm a father to many, and it's not always right because my sons don't always get, you know, I'm always that guy, I'm always gonna run, but there's so many youths out here with no father guidance, do you know what I mean? I don't really know about male love and male attention. Yeah. So for me, it's just like, that's just part of what I'm about. That's what I do, innit? Yeah. So it's just, if you're not in the best setting, you can still create something, you know, from what you've seen, you know? You can see something, oh, okay, that looks like normality. Yeah, yeah. You can create it for yourself. And I think a lot of young people, it's complicated because, you know, when I was growing up, I went through the road situation, you know what I mean? I went through all of that stuff, but I was always convicted by my own inner beliefs, irrespective of my peers. So we went through a stage where we were selling crack, and it was just like raw. So what happened to me was, one of my guys, he's doing life now, and that was my bench. Like, you see us together all the time, right? And this guy was like, we was in Grove one night, both of us selling crack and shit, and then a pregnant woman came to my car. Heavily pregnant though, she was like 8 months, like any minute now, she'll be coming, right? So she come over and she's like, yeah, da 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 da. So I'm like, yo, move from my car, man, you crazy, like, what you mean do to your baby, you mad? Yeah. And like, she was alright, so she walks off and that. Then my guy looks at me and he was just like, bruv, like, what you doing? So I'm like, no, what do you mean? And he's like, bruv, what you want, bruv? Like, you don't think she's been smoking crack the whole pregnancy, like, what are you talking about? Jeez. So I'm like, yeah, and he's like, bruv, listen, we're out here to make money, bruv, I don't know what you're thinking. So I'm like, alright, cool, so he jumped out the car, went, shot her, came back to the car and that. We drove back to my hostel and I was like, when we reached there, I was just quiet, like, and he was just like, yo, what's up? So I'm like, bruv, I'm good, you know. Just gave him my cracks, I'm not on it. Yeah. And he was just like, for real? He's like, no, just if anything, just don't. So now I'm not on it, because I know the cycle. If I can't sell to a pregnant woman, then what am I doing, innit? Like, there's a cycle behind that, innit? So I'm just not on it, bruv. And that's what I mean, like, I didn't, even though I was in peers and that, we had that confidence to be ourselves, innit? So and you were just like, alright, cool, like, you're not on it. No, I'm not on it, bruv. So you can still link me, we're still boys in that, but that's not for me, you get me? Like, but a lot of these young people, even when they're involved in things, they get these same signs, they get these same things that I'm talking about, and they're ignoring them because they're in their local peers, you understand? And it's like, nah, when you get that little flash, do something with it. Like, don't sit down and wait for no one to give your own soul credibility. Make a move on it, you understand? So I think that's what's kind of protected me. Anytime I've gotten too deep into a situation, I've seen certain things, and when we get back to the family setting, like the guys that were selling crack, like I go to their house and I'm like, whoa. Like, I thought, like, you know, Caribbean households were just strict, you know, your mum would beat you, anything could go down. Nah, these guys are like, Mum, where's my crack? And I was like, what the hell?
Okay.
Yeah.
Like that.
It was crazy, and like.
But that does happen though. Like, you'll go to someone's house and, you know, their parents will be doing stuff.
Yeah, it was. I never understood it. I never understood like mum involved, grandma involved. I'm like, what? So that made me understand that my family settings, I was actually quite privileged. Do you know what I mean? I had like a really good upbringing. So seeing all of that and knowing this road that I was going down, I just knew that it weren't right. My moral compass, I was off of it. You understand? So it was like, nah, get back to your belief, innit? And then obviously having Rico at 17, that was again for me like, alright, cool, road life done, innit? Like, let me focus on family life kind of thing. So again, it's just, there's a lot of young people out there that are doing things not necessarily because they're in it, they're just in it to, because other people are in it, you understand? But you got to check your own spirit, know where you're at.
So you see United Borders, obviously like they focus on supporting like at-risk youths.
Yeah.
Like what would be like the key signs that parents and like teachers and police should look out for youths that are at risk? I
mean, when we're talking about at risk, you're talking about, people always got this thing about this whole single mum thing, right? And
this is it.
I'm not going to shy away from the fact that, okay, single mums, you know, for me, that's just a person that needs extra support.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So all these opinions around single mums is not useful because the reality is a woman that's got a child in her stomach for 9 months, at no point is she envisioning this child not having no father figure. Do you know what I mean? Alright, if the relationship breaks down, but she's not actually thinking, I'm never going to have to deal with a dad.
Yeah.
Like, it's not the case. It's just 9 times out of 10 I find men are the ones that are severing these relationships, you know, and I'm like, alright, cool, like, not saying that, you know, women are perfect or whatever, not, but what my thing is like, if you've walked away from a relationship, you got to work twice as hard now, because now you got to support someone financially. She's the mother of your children,
of course.
You know what I mean? You got to support her financially,
absolutely,
you know, and guys, oh, well, what if she buys this one? Well, so what if she buys that? Just support, innit? Get the thing supported, and your children, like, you got to make a safe space for your children. Like, if you've broken up with mum, cool. Have you got a situation where you can spend a week with you out of the month? Do you see what I'm saying to you? Stop putting this whole thing on mums and all that kind of stuff and start stepping up to what it is, you understand? So for me, that's always been my ethos, innit? Like, I've always wanted my children around me. Me and mum, you know, 17, 18, jealous, going through my mode. But it was like, boy, family's important, you know? We could fight, we might break up, but I'm like, no, like, let's get it back on point. And my family, like, I've always fought for it, if that made sense, right? So I just think that single mums is an indicator that something could happen here, right? Yeah. And then it's that young person who's in school, are they getting support? So if their dad's not around,
will be big on the school. He
keeps
saying school.
I'm being honest. I believe something can be done in schools.
Definitely.
You got people being expelled.
Yeah.
They just get sent back to the road. They'll pretend to their mum that, you know, I'm going to school, but I'm not going to school. I was in a student referral unit, and the person that I was with, he was instrumental in sort of guiding me away from that nonsense and thinking about the future. And he even done it with a few people. Some of them have become footballers, some of them are doing big things. Some of them even went back to work at the school because of him. You know, so my school wasn't, if you got expelled, they'll send you to the streets or whatever. But there should have been something more done. They should have forced these people to go to these
it's common knowledge now, isn't it? Like, expulsions lead to crime. The two are not, you can't separate them no more. They're married, they're twins, right? But I mean, as well as that, if you've got a young male growing up, I mean, it's the women as well. So again, it's something that doesn't get mentioned. Women get left out of this conversation.
They're involved too.
But again, you've got single parent families, like, what support, emotional support, is that young person getting? Because they need it. Now they need it, you know what I mean? If there isn't a father figure, now they actually need it. And you know, where's that intervention? Where is that kicking in? So yeah, single parent is one of the indicators. Known to social services is another indicator. Financially deprived background, another indicator. Expelled from school, another indicator. And known to police is another indicator. So these are the 5 things that they can actually say safely, okay, if someone is all of these 5 things, this is someone that might go on to, you know, commit crimes or whatever, you know.
Do you feel like they need to start working within the communities to kind of schools, people, anyone?
All the governors get together and just tackle this. Because I mean, you go to conventions a lot, so sorry to cut you.
No, so because what we know is the most poverty-stricken communities are the ones where the most violence is happening. And that's not just London. We're talking, you know, like you said earlier, Lancashire.
Lincolnshire. This is, you know, people don't understand that poverty is a design. You know, we all seem to think, oh, you know, we're just, you know, hard. That no, it's a design. You got to design poverty. It's not something that just people just wake up in it. You got to design it, right?
Exactly.
If you can spend 30 million on a royal wedding one day, and that's our money, by the way. Yeah. How you can't spend 30 million in the area?
This is it.
If over 5 years. Do you know what I mean? To improve it, like
for real.
And it's just I see money being sucked from one area and being prioritised for a government spend on that situation, but then there's nothing here. Why are school teachers the worst paid people?
Exactly.
Like, how does that work?
I'm a teacher as well.
Yeah. How does that work?
Yeah.
Like for me, how does that work? They should be boarding. They should be the people that come in. Yeah, they should be coming to school.
But this is
and all the young people look like, whoa, you see the car, or you see how they look fly. Do you know what I mean? Like they should. No,
because that's all inspiration.
And there's those kind of things that young people actually look up to.
Of course, of course. If you're a teacher and you go and you got your swag on, and they're looking at you, they're like, wait a minute.
Trust me, the kids rip us.
You understand?
Because the only thing it takes is Google. Oh, so you're a teacher, you're only earning 30k a year. Come on, man. What are you doing? And then all of a sudden you feel like shit.
For me, it's like
they got it backwards.
Yeah. Society has all these things backwards. The people that are picking up rubbish, if they don't pick up rubbish for a week, you know how bad the place smells.
Yeah.
They're on no wages. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not doing that. So if you told me someone's on 100 bags a year, go on, do your thing.
Exactly.
Do your thing, because I'm not on it. You know the ones that are like, that should be it. Like the people that are working in the hardest aspects of our society, they should be rewarded the most. You know, it shouldn't be the other way around.
For real.
So I think that when it comes to where we are with young people in particular right now, we're at a point where lip service ain't gonna do it. You see what I'm saying to you? Lip service ain't doing it. I've been in secondary schools, been in primary schools, and I'm like, wow, we got to catch these guys young.
Yeah. This is it.
You know what I mean?
Funny enough, I actually met 2 people at your event.
Yeah.
I believe one of them, Tom
Unlocking potential.
And they said they've opened up a primary school, get them young from 5 to, was it 11?
Yeah.
And then they've also opened up a student referral unit as well. Which is big, so you know these people aren't even from this community. Have seen, okay, this community needs it.
But this is what hurts. Like, why is my funding coming from private backers?
And this is what I was going to say.
You see what I'm saying to you? Like, how does that work? Like, I'm working with young people in the borough that need extra support, that need our help, and all the rest of it. And the council don't seem. You're telling me about austerity. How does that work?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not feasible to me. And it's like, I just know that I always say if these crimes were happening in Eton, Cambridge, Oxford. Finished. Finished. It's done. It's done. Game over. Plug it out. It's not happening no more.
Exactly. Before it even begins. Like,
quickly.
It's done.
And even the riots show that. The riots could happen in all the little garrisons and that. Great. The moment the riots moved to Kensington, whoa, gun police like Ross. They were out there. Let's see what's happening now. It's a whole different animal. And that's what I mean. Like, the things that which are prioritised and not prioritised, it just takes a little bit of tension, and you see what it really is, you know. And I'm thinking we're subsidising the royal family. These guys don't pay taxes; they're all right. And I've got nothing against the royals. Like, big up if that's what you want to celebrate within your country. Do your thing in it. My whole thing is that why are we still paying for that?
Thank you.
They've had an amazing head start in life. You guys ain't struggling. You've had a
they will never struggle.
You're never going to struggle. You own all the land. You're not broke, innit? But yet still we've got broken homes, broken families, and it's like the questions that I'm raising, it's not even from a black perspective. It's just when I travel a lot throughout the country, and when you see what's happened to white working classes, you're just like, wow, the country's failed them big time.
Really? Because we always see just black and white.
But do you know why that is?
They make it seem as if there was a racial thing.
This is
when you start talking about like students being failed throughout the country, like ain't no one being more failed than young white boys throughout this country. It's not a joke.
But I kind of feel like when a black person does something good, you know, it's not bigged up. Kind of like what you're saying earlier. But as soon as a black person does something wrong, the whole black community has to answer for it. It's to blame.
But it's the same thing with terrorism. So everyone's it's Muslims now.
But then you got white supremacists who can go into a church and shoot it all up. Do you know what I mean? But
you remember, I'm a child of the 80s, right? So I was growing up when the IRA was active. And these guys are blowing the city apart. And I'm talking about blowing the city apart, right? I'm not these ends. We're talking about financial district they were blowing up, right? And there was no mention of white people, white terrorists. You know what I mean? There wasn't even no mention of Irish terrorists. It was just IRA. It was used. There was terrorists being used back then, but it was synonymous with the IRA, right? So my whole thing is that didn't become a colorized issue. That didn't become like and it was blatant. It was Catholic, Protestant. It didn't become a Catholic issue. I was a Catholic kid, right? It didn't become that. So my thing is just like, be consistent. Be consistent, innit? Like, let's go through the 80s headlines and look at what was being said for the IRA back then. Let's be clear, it wasn't all Irish people have to leave this country now. It wasn't all Irish people have to atone for the terrorist aspect of their community. It wasn't that. It was accepted that these are rogue people within that community.
And even recently, the IRA was brought up again during the whole kind of Brexit situation. And again, it was just the IRA. Irish people.
No, that's my point. So, you know, a lot of the time, I mean, we had an interview the other day on BBC for a morning television show, and we made one of our young people speak. So from the org, and during the conversation, the presenter turns around and she says to him, so as a young black boy, how do you feel about all the stabbings? You see this?
Why are you gonna ask?
Did you bite your tongue? I swear, got real.
Listen, so she was like, as a young black boy, how do you feel about all the stabbings in London? So and remember, it's kind of like semi-live, so they do it like that, and then it's so she asks questions, we hop off the bus and that. There's more questions being answered, me bang my bag. And then it's just in the back of my mind, like, why the hell did she do that? Do you know what I mean? And a lot of the time they'll qualify these kind of questions and they'll make your own people ask you. So it's like, no, it's not an agenda. Like someone like you asked the question, right? I'm like, okay. So I've gone back upstairs and I'm already, my head just starts spinning. I'm like, mad. So I've gone back upstairs and I'm like, yo, is it just me? And then they're like, yo, the real. I was like, we're on this thing. All right, cool, galvanized. So I went outside. I said to the producer, hear what I'm saying to you. So that black part, you're gonna have to take that out, the question. And if you don't, there's no interview. And they was like, no, but we filmed. And I was like, I don't care. There was like, and what I do is like, I don't sign the clearance forms. I have them, but I don't sign them straight away. I say, yeah, cool. We've got them. So we'll get them over to you. But I never signed the clearance forms. So I remind the producer, listen, I've got the clearance forms, I ain't signing nothing, I'm willing to drop the whole United Borders stuff, I'm cool. Jeez. You're not going to ask a young black boy, how does he feel as a black person? When you get white people, if it's let's have the duality then, innit? Like, if that's the case, I'm fine, innit? But when it's not for your own, and these, like, the guys, particularly from Y2I, they're nothing to do with the ends. They don't even know about this stuff. They're like, what? So just this kind of racist assumption that if you're black, you must know about knife crime. It's crazy. Do you know what I mean? Like,
but I wonder, where did these people get this idea from?
Well, she's got an earpiece in it, so it's from upstairs, isn't it? It's just them saying, okay, well, ask them how as a young black boy, and she just concentrating on pitch and delivery, right? But you got a question that, wait, where you coming with that one? No, I'm not asking that. What I will say as a young person, how do you feel? Cool, I'm cool with that. We're solution providers. You know, he was articulate about it, but I was prepared to lose the whole thing, to be honest with you. I was like, I'm not gonna lose it all.
Not right, man. I'm not
on it. Like, you're not gonna have the rest of the country waking up like, oh yeah, young black boys in London. Because that's the sentiment. It's like a black thing. And I'm like, it's not about that, because young white life is being lost all around the country. Young Asians, Punjabs, etc. Bangladeshi boys are being killed all around the country. Like, this is a problem with philosophy. Young people have signed up to philosophy that needs questioning, that needs, hardcore questioning from all of us. So stop making black people the face of violence. You know what I mean?
I saw the clip where you had it out with Piers Morgan.
That was beautiful.
That was the delivery, the passion. Jeez, man. Man, that takes guts to shut up Piers Morgan. You know what I'm saying? So, listen, I mean, from my standpoint, I think, I was saying this to these guys, I think Stop and Search should continue.
Right.
Not targeted, I just think it's good. Let's do the Stop and Search, because,
we gonna differ.
Yeah?
We gonna
swear.
You know what? Can I
Justin, don't go BBC on me.
On the subject of, what did you say on Stop and Search?
Stop and Search.
How you feel about it?
Well, me personally, I believe it's needed.
Right.
But you can't necessarily. I personally just don't believe police will not just focus on black kids, because the narrative is pointed in the direction of black youth.
Well, the interesting thing about Stop and Search is that it never stopped.
Okay.
So even when they say, well, Stop and Search, we need to get it back at it, never stopped for us. We're always at the top of the Stop and Search 100%. Table. When the IRA was bombing the country, guess who was still getting more Stop and Search than anyone else? Us.
Swear.
Yeah. So it's just one of those ones where, for me, when you say Stop and Search, I'm like, well, when did it stop? You know what I mean? It's been a continuum for us, and we got to be clear. Like, I had a problem with Stop and Search when I was coming up, because I had a moped. And it was like, I used to get stopped and searched weekly. Like, to the point I wouldn't even tell my parents anymore. It would just be normal. Like, just get stopped and searched, just accept it as a rites of passage, right? But it's embarrassing. It's very embarrassing. And then when police need to build strong, most of the police crime is solved by the community. Like 90% of police crime is solved by community. So now, if the community is no longer talking to the police, how are you going to solve the crimes? We know all the guys that are carrying out all the strippiness in the community, but we don't deal with police. So now how are you going to solve that? Whereas if the police were present, we pay for it. So why am I paying for someone to stop and search my child? And I know my child ain't up to no good. The kids that are carrying out a lot of the stabbings and the road, social workers know it's who. They know. I'm sitting on the meetings and I'm like, wait a minute, they know that this guy's part of a family that sells drugs, guns, he's been stopped with knives. So you know the people who, it's not like they don't know. It's not random, they know, innit? So I'm saying, all right, the guys that are carrying knives or have a history of it, target them. Target them. Or if someone's been stabbed and they're more likely to carry, cool, they might have to get stopped and searched. I'll accept that. Do you see what I'm saying to you? I'll accept that as a given, but when you just got your normal young black child, just happy-go-lucky, getting stopped and searched by police, it's an intimidating thing. There's nothing easy about it, it's embarrassing. Be a young man and people are going for your pockets and stuff, and you're on the streets.
See everyone watching.
Yeah, everyone's watching. Like,
so like they even stop like it's a...
This is the thing.
It's a horrible... It's a dehumanizing experience, right? But if you're talking about stop and search, I don't think that's it. I think police presence is it.
Yes.
Police walking on streets, yes. Because now you got to think twice. I see it. Remember, yo, there's police on top of the road, you know. Everyone got to think twice, right? Cool, and we're for that. We're paying for that service, right? So there's no reason why we should have lost that service. We've been paying for it. So when the police have gone through their funding, we've got some stats up here. We got some police funding cuts caused a loss of more than 20,000 officers since 2010. Like, they should be allying with the black community. They should be like, look, we've lost 20,000 officers. How, do you guys feel safe knowing there's no police presence? No, we don't. We actually want police presence because kids are running around feeling like there's no consequences to their actions. I'm perfectly happy with police presence. But if it comes to searches, make them targeted. You know who you're looking for. Do your work. They're criminals, innit? Like, we're not gonna say, how can you stop Shanker Steve? No, we're cool. Shanker Steve can't get stopped. It is what it is, you know what I mean? Like, we're good with that. So this is the misconception, and it all gets rolled into one narrative because we're against stop and search because we're always targeted more heavily than anyone else. People think that they just don't like police. No, we're cool with police. But how about having police who come from the area, who are not from Leeds, and they're coming to London for the first time, have already got their racial bias set, and then you put them into London? How does that work? If you had even London white boys that grew up around the way, they'd know certain things because they've got black friends. They know what's up, they know what time it is, you know what I mean? They've got Asian friends, they know what time it is, you know what I mean? But when you're dealing with people who don't come from the actual borough itself and they're policing the borough, it's crazy. I can't go to Leeds and, you know what I mean, run shop in Leeds. It doesn't work that way. You've got to get people who are from the area. So Metropolitan Police for a long time have been failing us because they can't recruit. And when they do recruit black officers to leave the Met, because of the internal racism that's going on in there. McPherson report has them down as institutionally racist. You know what I mean? That's someone who's looked at the police force and I've actually had a good look at this. Lord McPherson, by the way, and he said your institution is racist. So it's on them to prove that they're not racist. It's on them to now prove that, listen, we want to provide a service to you guys, and if they can't provide that service, cool. Give the community the budget to police itself then. Do you know what I mean? We've got so many people unemployed that if we said, right, here's a badge, here's some training, police yourselves. Because it happens. Go to Golders Green. It happens. It happens in Golders Green.
There's no
young Jewish people police their own community. They've got their own police cars. They drive around, they've got their walkie-talkies.
You see them on the high street.
What's up?
Swear. Wow.
That's what I'm trying to say. It's not revolutionary, it's happening, right? So my whole thing is like, we want a service, we do want police presence. You can't hold a massive event and there's no police there. Do you know what can happen? Do you see what I'm saying to you? We're cool with it, but my thing is like, don't just stop anyone. So on the subject of Rico, imagine after his stabbing, the first time he actually mustered the confidence and could actually breathe long enough to walk on the street. He went to Kilburn to go and do some shopping and that, and he was walking and that, and the police stopped him in the high road and they're searching him, and they're like, oh, what's this? Colostomy bag full of excrement and food on the high street. It's hot, so why have you got a jacket on? It's hot, like I don't want to. He's like, listen, I've been stabbed, I've got a colostomy bag here, can we not do this here? Police officer raised it on the street.
Nothing at all. No.
Like, this is my point, like, you can't deal with everyone like that. You gotta have
power trip. Some of them have power trips.
You gotta have dignity about the thing, innit? Like if and you know Rico's a pleasant kid, right? It's not being funny. Like you could say to yourself, "Well, what's that? All right, hold on a minute. Get some police officers and say, let's go to the side here. What? Let me show you. You see the colossal and be, oh, sorry about that.
What happened when they lifted it up?
No, they just, oh, okay. Like that kind of situation. There's no apology, no nothing. But then, again, you destroyed someone's confidence in the police that doesn't have a relationship with the police. The first time my sons were stopped and searched was when they were 10 and they were on their way back from table tennis and they had table tennis rackets. Police check. Do you know what I mean? They had in their cloak and their hat. You would never have done this. Like, let's be honest, innit? So, again, this is their first interaction with police, and it's on the floor at 10 years old. And I'm here like saying, no, police have got a job to do. Really? So again, I just think that there's things that can be done.
And it sounds like the police are causing this disconnect between the police and the community.
Yeah, they have. I mean, for bad police.
So just touching on the campaign and whole anti-knife crime campaign. How do you feel about musicians also getting involved and trying to promote the campaign, like Stormzy's performance, which I thought was an incredible performance. Did you watch it?
Yeah, major. In fact, I watched the excerpts of it. You know, when you're on the gram, you feel like you watched everything. But I'm a little bit like a prude, so if everyone's watched something and I ain't watched it, I'm like, I ain't watching it. Even though everyone's got glee in their face, you know what I mean? I don't want glee. I don't glee in my life, but I'm gonna go and watch it. I'm gonna sit down and watch it properly. But I met him a few times, and for me, he's one of the most humbling people I've ever met.
Really?
Yeah, silly. I mean, I remember the first time him and Akala was on a session with was it Charlie Sloth? I think it was him, Akala, Mike Righteous. They were in a session together. Wow. I think it was for Charlie Sloth. And I watched this guy come on, and them not call me Simon Cowell because I look at talent and I say, yeah, that's gonna go. Do you know what I mean? My man came in with the energy, and I was like, I phoned with Carla, yo, who was that dark skin you? He was like, Stormzy. I said, listen, that you's gone. And this is like his first breakthrough. Right. I said, he's gone. He's so gone. He's unbelievable. So I've always had a little interest in him, but just as a person, he's just like one of the most humblest people, and he actually cares. It's not a joke thing. So with that whole Brits performance stuff, this guy put his whole life on the line, and people don't understand really what he did. Because I know how it is. Going to GMB, you get all them kind of questions. This is Stormzy, and this is the Brits. It's the biggest award ceremony in Britain. In Britain. It's projected all around the world. The man said Theresa May is a criminal.
It takes balls to say that.
Listen, let that one settle in. You feel what I'm saying to you? Like,
how do you feel about it? Do you think that was the right place to say that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I mean, if you're willing to die by your convictions, because that's what that is. Let's be clear. Like, when someone of that stature goes at the government just like that, when does it happen? When does it ever happen? It never happens.
Like, you feel like you need more of that from...
Yeah, definitely. If your heart's in it. The last time you would have seen that was Kanye West when he said George Bush don't care about black people, right? And then you see Kanye West apologising for the thing, right? Because all the pressure that comes, mum dies, all the stuff that comes after that is like, whoa. But Stormzy put it all out there, man. So when people like that, for me, they're putting it out for the culture. They're really putting themselves out there, and the money don't really matter to him because he's made up. His whole team's made up. You know, he's came up with his team. Everyone's millionaires now. So there's no need to even have that angle. And he puts himself out there like that. For me, I know what kind of talk that is. You know what I mean? Like, you're going straight at the government. It's major. It's major talk, isn't it? So
even like Glastonbury said, "Fuck Boris."
That's my whole point. Like, he's consistent with it. Guys consistent with it, and for me, like, that's what music was. Like Bob Marley and all these kind of reggae artists that we grew up around. They went idle. Like Tupac. Like, a lot of these guys were going up against the government because that's where the injustice was. They weren't saying, "Okay, well, my house is bigger, my car's bigger." And a lot of artists are right. Get your money. Like, do your thing in it, but like when Stormzy's clearly got millions and he ain't talking about it, like, what are you telling me? You got 100 grand, so what? You made 100 grand this week, so what? Like, man's got millions and ain't occupied with that. So it's not for everyone. I'm not saying everyone should become an activist, but I think everyone has got a cause of some sort. Find your cause in it, because it can't just be cash.
No, definitely.
It can't just be cash in it.
And I rate when like artists like that use their platform to highlight this.
Just on it, like there's no need. Same for Makala when you went back to Piers Morgan. his peers were just like, yo, alright, cool. Like, just
you can't compete with that guy.
Yeah.
When you see Akala speaking on this interview,
No.
just listen.
Let me tell you something about this guy.
I watched the video.
This guy got me on reading like way early, but like he reads like this, like so he'll read through these books, but he'll read like a couple chapters, put down. And then you pick up another one, a couple chapters put down, Yeah, he's a prolific reader, right? But he's always had like a photographic memory, so you can remember like minute stuff. But I can't remember where he put his car keys, it's like that. But he'd read like that, and I was like, why would you read like that? And he's like, because that's how the internet has you doing things. It's like little bite-sized stuff, innit? So it's like, you know, sometimes you read a book and you'll struggle with it. So he's like, why do that? Why not just read that when I'm struggling with that? And I'm enjoying this one, I'm doing that. But his mind is like a dictionary. His mind is just literally like that. So, you know, these are people that he's alright, he's doing alright. You don't need all that hassle.
Yeah, he's doing good.
He doesn't need that. Good. You know what I mean? Like,
and after I read his book as well, like, I've got so much respect.
Crazy.
Get his book, guys.
Listen, you need.
Rise up.
Oh, is that Storms? I'm talking about Akala.
Oh, no, okay,
Yeah. You best get Akala's book. Sorry, Storms is all love. But Akala is a professor.
Yeah.
And again, like. He doesn't need it. Carla don't need it. His life's alright. You know what I mean? His life's pretty alright. But he still put himself out there for the community. So I think that for me with music and where it is, I mean, you know, we do a lot of work with drill artists and stuff like that, and people will say, oh, it's contradicted, but music therapy.
It is.
So
it is.
If someone comes in with that angle, I know where their head's at straight away.
Yeah.
Someone comes in chatting about trapping, I know where their head's at straight away. Someone comes in a gal vibe, I know where their head's at straight away, you know. So it helps us and it informs us on how best to work with this young person, do you know what I mean? And then from then we question their stuff, because a lot of the time they're not getting the question. Your peers ain't going to say to you, oh, no, you just shanked up 5 man in verse 1, what one?
That's true, you know.
That's us, you know what I mean? 5 man get shanked, like, what do they do? What's going on? No, because we'll shank 1 man less in it. Let's go for verse 2. Let's shank in verse 2, innit?
But Justin, let me ask you something. How do you feel, because there's been a lot of media talk on about the music, and especially drill music, and how it's impacting the youth, and how it's glorifying, you know, mashing up and doing all of this. Do you feel like it's a real issue?
It's part of an issue. So I mean, I grew up underneath Mobb Deep and, you know, all guys that were talking some moody stuff in hip hop, right? But at the same time, I had Lauryn Hill, so it was like, you know, it was a balance, and I was heavy into R&B, into reggae, into soca. So I had the myriad of music. Where a lot of our young people now are just into one genre thing, right? Yeah. So I think that's more the problem. The fact that certain other artists are not elevated. We've got female artists in this country that are doing well. They're not being elevated and on the same level as the male artists. They're not given the same. They should be given like the same push. So when you work in the Beeb and certain other places, you're dealing with mainly women presenters, mainly women producers. They're getting the push. Don't whether they're good enough for the job or not. They're here. It's happening. Shut up, right? Same thing should be happening for female artists. Like they're here. Sharp, Little Sims is on the main bill. We don't care. Get on with it. And she's an incredible artist, right? My point is that once you start to elevate and push female MCs, we're gonna get more female dialogue. Because at the moment, there's a lot of talk about drill, there's a lot of talk about, you know, this whole thing, but my whole thing is like, what about the female artists? What about the female expression? Because I'm in love with Lauryn Hill, do you know what I mean? Like I always have been, do you know what I mean? And there's a plethora of female artists, soul singers that I'm in love with, do you know what I mean? That taught me the ever female expression. And a lot of these young boys are missing that. So when they chat to women, they don't even know how to talk to women, you know, because you're objectifying women 24/7 on screens and stuff. Oh, well, she's doing it. No. Men have created all these platforms. Men are the problem. They live in a patriarchal society, right? So my whole thing is like, we need to get more women, particularly within the arts, and we need to give them more of a push than the male artists, because they're gonna get the push anyway, right? It's gonna work out for them anyway. So I think we just need more balance within what's being pushed and who thinks that these people are credible or not. Because a lot of the drill artists, I said to them, look, if you've got fans that are willing to celebrate you killing someone that looks exactly like yourself, what kind of fans do you have, bruv?
It's true.
What kind of fans are those?
It's true.
You know what I mean? Like, and it's a real phenomenon. Like, I got young black kids, and I remember one of them in particular. I was driving him back home, and I was saying to him, "What happens to you when you see them?" And I was pointing to like 4 white boys walking down the road. It's like nothing. I don't even see them. I said, "All right, cool." We drove further in the journey. And I said, "What happens when you see them?" And these kids that look exactly like him. heart starts beating, like I start feeling funny. Like I'm like, okay. So you're gonna tell me that like a young 12-year-old that's growing up with shank, drill, kill, stab, that's all they're hearing 24/7. You're telling me that ain't gonna impact the psyche of how they feel about someone that looks exactly like themselves. I'm not saying that they've got to spread out the killing. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is that you're actually, if I was in the Ku Klux Klan or in a white supremacist network, drill would be a godsend. Because now you guys are killing each other. You can't even blame us anymore. Exactly. It'll be a godsend if I was in a racist, terrorist, a supremacist network. I'd be like, yes, I love drill, because now you're doing the job for yourselves. Yeah. So I'm underneath no illusion. This is why we listen to the lyrics as peers. We question it, and it's the first time they get that. Like, no one's making them question like that. Do you know what I mean? So it's just one of those ones. All right, cool. If we're talking metaphorical killing people, I'm down with that. You know what I mean? If it's your own life, cool. Do what you got to do, innit? But as an organisation, I'm not going to push that. I'm not going to promote that, okay? It's not in line with what we're about. We're about living life, enjoyment, right? Yeah. So, but we'll show you how to monetize from your efforts, because I've seen with Nines that once someone can make money, eventually the message starts to change, innit? And when outside forces are talking about banning drill, I'm like, well, let's ban opera. Or let's ban classical, because ain't that what MPs are making when they're doing all their austerity measures? Ain't that the music they listen to when they're sending troops to the Middle East, when they're sending people to Africa to go on teeth resources? What were you listening to then? Was it violin? Let's ban that too then. Let's ban piano. Let's ban Mozart, because that's what you lot was listening to when you lot was on your crowd, building your empire. You feel me? And if we look at the British Empire, how it started, it weren't no beautiful beginnings. It was lay down, teeth in all your resources, teeth in your people. You get me? And now we're in Starbucks, we're chilling. But let's talk about the beginning. It was ugly. You understand? So some things have ugly beginnings, but then it has beautiful outcomes at the end, innit? So I'm not here to say whether it should be banned or not. Because black music is always should it be, and that's from garage. Where man was just talking about buy champagne and get gal at the bar. So what we're talking about now, it's been from
Justin's deep, Trust me. I'm listening and I'm engulfed in it.
Like that, and the reality is that we've created an industry that we don't own. Do you know what I mean? And we're caught in conditions that we don't own. You understand? So just allow it. Like, let people do what they got to do, but at the same time, as a community, let's really sit down and actually reflect on what's actually going on. Let's not be too biased. Let's not be too naive. That someone 12 listening to stabbings 24/7 ain't gonna have an impact on your mind state, on how you feel about yourself and how you feel about people that look exactly like yourself. And I end on that one because Carla's always an interesting guy, because like I remember with his first album, The War Mixtape, he was talking crud. He was talking nigga, and if you F with me, you're dead. It was all of that kind of stuff, right? But he was still talking like Malcolm X. I read Malcolm when I was 6, And I remember we was in South London, and some youths moved to us. It weren't us in particular. We was with 2 other youths that were blingy. They moved to them, tried to rob them. The man them weren't having it. We got into a fight with them. They backed out straps. So we just had to fight for our lives in the end. You know what I mean? And we got away from the situation. And I remember, like, I was like the whole sentiment was like, nah, we know we've done it. We're not gonna have it, kind of situation, innit? And then Carla kind of turned around like after a week, and he was just like, listen, I just feel like our mission's bigger than this, Like, man got the chains, buy them back, man. So what? Like, let's not feed into this thing. So I was like, all right, cool. Listen, if that's where you want to go with it, stop talking that talk then, innit?
Exactly.
Like, stop talking that, if X and Y, Z happen, because when it happens, we're not doing nothing. So let's not talk that no more, innit? And he was just like, no, that's a fair point. And then same thing, he kind of got into the whole thing with lyrics. He used to use the word N-word a lot. Used to be nigga this, nigga that, whatever, And he had a conversation with a guy called Twain, I beg you. Twain was the guy that walked out on the Queen and said, I'm not going to be part of this Commonwealth celebration. It was that guy, right? So we've always had a lot of that, my man's about his business, you know what I mean? So we had an interview with him, and he was just like, said to Carla at the end, listen, see, when you're using that N-word, I don't think your ancestors would be proud about that, And as a man, I think it's big, innit? It's big. I don't think your ancestors would be happy about that. So, but beyond that, I think you're better than that. You know what I mean? He goes, I got love for you, and I think you're better than that. Wow. Swear to you, we left the studio, and that same day, Carla's like, no more N-word, done.
Swear.
Yeah, wow. You're never gonna hear him chat N-word. You're never gonna hear him chatting about if a man tests me, he just stopped it. You know what I mean? So again, and if you look at everything that he's actualized in his own life, all the love, all the reverence, all the community work, it goes with he changed the narrative, and his whole life changed, right? So a lot of these kids, I keep telling them, listen, I've literally seen someone build himself from the same point where you were, where he was confused, angry, and he fell in love with himself, and now he's just all about love, and now he's getting all that love. So when you're rapping from a confused, angry standpoint, do what you gotta do, but also come on, transition now, innit? Like let's evolve, innit? Because that's not all it is. That's not what life is.
Yeah, that's for real. Oh, wow, man.
I mean,
deep, man.
I don't know what to say.
We've just had probably like the deepest interview I think we're gonna have, and you know what? It's opened my mind and it's opened my eyes too. On that note, obviously we've put these statistics in front of you. Which one jumps out to you the most?
I'd have to say the council slashing funding and youth services by 40% on average in the last 3 years. I'd have to say that one. And
where's that? Yeah.
Because I always say, like, if you want to discuss knife crime, then discuss cuts crime.
Yeah.
Because it's criminal what the government's done. It's actually criminal.
And there's a correlation.
There's a correlation, there's a pattern. You've got MPs that have now understood that there's a direct impact on cutting services to people and what they're willing to do, you understand? And a lot of the time I think we get kind of too caught up in statistics and too caught up in the jargon. And I just kind of like whittle it down to normal stuff, right? So if you got £10 in your pocket right now and you know you're alright to eat tonight, if you wake up tomorrow and there's not £10 in your pocket tomorrow, what are you willing to do to eat? It's not going to be what you was willing to do yesterday. It's a complete different thing. And when you start to take away money, spaces and all these things from young people, it's no wonder we see what we see today, you understand? And the government has played this role where it's the parent, right? So if you're in a couple relationship, the government ain't going to help you. But if you're a single parent, now the government wants to play partner and wants to play daddy now, innit? And wants to give you funding and wants to give you your own house and all these kind of things, right? Well, cool. If you're willing to do that to the end. You understand? You maintain the youth services, you maintain the services that we need in the hospitals, you maintain the teachers getting paid properly, maintain all the services that we need, and don't just be convenient, we're not going to do that anymore, you know, we're not going to mess about with your child anymore, we're going to actually make conditions where your child is going to do some desperate things. So, you know, there's that, and I've literally seen my mum, government telling me my mum is physically fit enough to work. She's got glaucoma, she's blind in one eye, has diabetes and all the rest of it. And we're actually having to write letters to MPs and all these stuff, and you're telling me, Mum, how? My mum doesn't recognise me. How the hell can she go into work? Like, are you serious? So how many people have died through this? And this is what we're not talking about. It's not a racial situation, it's humanity. We're dealing with people that really have no love for humanity other than themselves, you know what I mean? And it's not really whether you're a Tory, Labour, right? I don't really care all about that. My thing is that you've got a duty to humanity, innit? And we've got enough money to maintain wars, trillions of pounds to kill people. How come we ain't even got $1 billion to make people feel well and healthy? Like, what's this? So yeah, I think that obviously jumps out to me because I work in the services, and I told you the council was the one that told me, great work that you're doing, but there's no money for it. You understand? So yeah, that's the one that I say resonates.
Right. And see, for United Borders, is there any like kind of projects or partnerships that you're looking forward to in the future? Like, what can we expect?
Oh yeah, for certain. I mean, at the end of this month, we take away 20 young people to Devon to do surfing.
Wicked.
Yeah.
Can I come just?
He's like, I'm young, goddammit. I'm still young.
Shave that beard off, I'll pass through.
Yeah, no, we're taking 20 young people away to the coast, and what's exciting about it is like, enough of them have never even left the ends. They haven't even left the ends. Right? So it's like surfing. It's called Surf and Sounds and that. And again, we pay for it. It's free. Like we just say, you know, parents need a break. You know, mum needs a break. You know what I mean? And mums are worried. Dads are worried about their children. So we're like, cool. We're gonna take them away for a week, do surfing, yoga, music, and you know, different diet. Just showing them different dietary stuff. You know, and plug them back in after a week, and then, you know, these are the practices that I told you were there when I was younger, innit? So there's no money for it, but this is why I spend my money. This is why I enjoy spending my money doing these kind of things. So there's that. We've got a number of like really big shows that we had planned, but I'm pushing them back because I'm training young people right now to basically set up their own wireless festivals, you know, because like we got to look at it. That's like
entrepreneurship almost.
Yeah, but it's like I don't want to be in a funding position, innit? I got to make money, and my whole thing is I got to make money for my young people, right? So in the Sonners commercial, they wanted that to be about me and what I'm doing. I'm like, nah, forget all that. here's 2 young people and show them navigating to get to where we're from.
That's what we should be doing.
And it's about them, right? So
giving them responsibility.
When they're into social media, right? So when all their people them see them on Sona's commercial, they're like, yo,
exactly.
Right? So then for us, like, we don't have to do advertising. The youth them do it for us. They're like, yo, who got you on that? And everybody wants to come on it, right? So my thing is like, we can't negate that these young people are trapped into a material mindset, right? And we have to connect them to more emotion, empathy-based thinking, right? But at the same time, you're trapped by material and what you have and what you don't have. So that's what you're in. So I'm gonna make you money. That's my job, innit? So we've got a Summer of Sweat program. Rico's leading one of them, so he'll be leading the kickboxing side of things.
He said that to us.
Yeah, that's what helped him rebuild himself. And we've got a young woman called Claudia who's doing the dancing side of thing. We've got another guy who spent most of his life in prison, who was one of England's most notorious villains, and he's doing football now. He runs a football academy. So we always get people who are young and people who have been through it, if that makes sense. But I'm just trying to make young people know that you can make money. Like, it's no big thing. Here's a check.
On your website, you got financial education.
Yeah. This is it. So we're building their brands. We'll do the marketing for you. We do the whole thing. Here's your business cards. Here's your brand. Here's your logo. Like, long after our project, you should be making money. If you leave here and you're not making money, we're not doing our job. You understand?
Yes.
So even with the project itself, I see it like 2 years. In the next 2 years, young people run it. Shouldn't be me out here doing this. You know what you're doing now. Run the project. You be the CEO. Get on with the work now, you understand? So there's a lot of exciting things coming up, but I think more than anything we have to understand and recognise that particularly at the black community, we're in the position that we're in right now because we didn't financially do a lot of the right things. You know, our grandparents put the work in, and it's for us to continue that. So our young people in particular, we just want to try and make the money, connect them to morals as well. So it's money and morals together. It's not money over morals, money and morals, ma'am.
Wait. We're gonna go back to when Justin found out who stabbed.
Right, so then I was
a bit like Dave Chappelle. The fourth time.
So I went on a show with some parents, and it was parents that lost their children through knife violence, and it was one of the most emotive things I've ever done in my life. I've never cried so much. Like, it was really, really hurtful because my son made it, and I felt like a fraud. Do you know what I mean? Like, everyone was here with pictures of their children. I'm like, nah, I saw my son this morning, you know? So, one of the mums that I was speaking to one day, she knew about the situation because it was like a Rayners Lane, North Hope beef. It was well publicised. And she was like, listen, the guys that did it, they actually live in my area, and they was bragging about this whole situation, you know? So she was like, listen, like, and I you know, it's horrible, but these guys are still around, so if you want to pursue the police side of it, that kind of thing. And I said, you know what, mum, like, I'm gonna pretend I didn't hear what you just said to me, you know, because I said if you knew my struggle last year, it was with retribution, it was with wanting to get these people back. I said, I think energy works, they're gonna get what's coming to them, you know what I mean? But it just, for me, again, it just showed me how far I'd come as a person. And then meeting Mark Prince, whose son Kyan Prince got killed, again, emotional stuff, and I was like, well, actually, there's men who physically could do something about it, but they decided to react in other ways. So that kind of informed my own journey and how I would navigate through this cycle of violence that young people are trapped in.
Wow. That's big. Listen,
we're gonna wrap it up.
We're gonna wrap it up because we could be here all night.
We got gelati, baby. We got gelati.
Not the Nigerian disclaimer.
Honestly,
Justin, real pleasure to have you.
Justin, CEO, founder of United Borders. Doing big things for the community and for the rest of London, if not UK. We really appreciate you coming here.
No, thanks for. I mean, you guys have got great energy as well. So for me, I'm an energy person. I met you straight away, and true to word, you told me to come. I'm here. It's just one of those ones. And you lot maintain what you're doing. I think you're doing a valuable service as well. Just like getting people to talk is really, really invaluable. So thanks for having me.
God bless.
Hopefully we'll see you at more of your events. We're invited, obviously.
Just make sure that Caribbean food's on there.
But listen, just on a serious note, if you've been affected by any of the things that we've discussed today, just go on websites. We've got things attached to our website. On Instagram, 3's a social. We're going to have things on Twitter. If you ever need support, if you want to talk to people, like, you know, Justin said, if you want therapy, if you've been a victim of knife crime, step out, talk to people. Instagram, 3s are social. What's that?
Look out for the stickers as well.
Look out for the stickers around the area, but you know, just come out and talk about it, don't keep it.
And if you don't know where to go or you don't know where to look, you know, just drop us a message and we'll find something for you guys.
Yeah, and if you want to go United Borders and you know get some help from there,
it's all good.
UNITEDBORDERS.org.
There's so many of us out doing the work in it, so just connect. Don't just connect to your peer circle. There's a lot more going on in the community.
For real. Thank you very much. 3s are social. Come on.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's go and get some jollof.
Let's get some jollof.